Welcome back to another episode of Presley's Pod. Wow. Wow. I am recording this at nighttime. Wow, there's windows behind me and it is pitch black outside. And actually it's not nighttime. It's currently 5:07 p.m., but the sun is setting at 4:30 and that is when my body's like, "Oh, time for bed." And so it's hard for us early birds this time of year. So check on your early bird friends, okay? I had a weird week this week, and I want to tell you all what happened. Obviously, I have a YouTube show slash podcast. I don't really want to refer to this as a podcast because I'm not available on any sort of listening platform. So it's not really a podcast. That's why I went with Presley's Pod. And I'm saying this right now, and it's the end of the year, right? So all of our manifestations, like, get it in, okay? I'm saying this right now. I really want this pod to stay on only on YouTube. And I am manifesting, and granted, I have no idea how this works. I truly couldn't tell you if this is even a thing, but since I thought of it, it has to be a thing at some point. I want to have a YouTube show. So I don't want this pod to be available on all platforms because I want YouTube to pay me to keep this Presley's Pod and all of our friends, listeners, etc. only on YouTube. So just putting it out there, we'll see what happens. But so you might notice that my hair looks good. I have a spray tan and I got my nails done. Not usually what I look like to record the pod, but the pod is for the girls. The pod's for the girls. And I like that we're all cozy and we're being real and keeping it honest and all the things. So, why did I have my hair done, a spray tan, and my nails done? I had it's currently Thursday. This episode comes out. No, it's Thursday. Wow. It's Thursday. This episode comes out on Sunday. But let's go back to Sunday night of this week. Sunday night, I finished work around 4:30 on my last work week, on the last day before a day off. I always like to order sushi, have 2 glasses of wine, go to bed early. So I had my sushi, I had my 2 glasses of rosé, I FaceTimed one of my friends, and I went to bed very early. And I've had this wine before. I've eaten at this sushi restaurant many a time, so I didn't think anything of it. The next morning, I had a workout class that I was going to go to at 11. I wake up, and usually I'm pretty much a spring chicken when I get out of bed. Like, I am pretty off to the races because I know the coffee's waiting for me in the kitchen. And that is truly what gets me out of bed in the morning. But this Monday morning, I woke up and we were moving slow. And I said, okay, well, maybe it's just the stress of work and this is my first day off. So my body's finally letting me rest, or my mind's resting, or something's telling me to rest. So I kind of start to like mosey around and get ready for my workout class. And I said, well, I should probably eat something before my class. And so I go to eat my yogurt and my fruit, and it's just like not really going down. I'm suddenly starting to feel a little ill. And usually when I'm sick, I don't lose my appetite. I love food. So this was a little strange to me. My stomach was really rejecting what I was putting in. And as I started eating, my my stomach was just expanding. My stomach was so large. And granted, this would have tracked maybe if I had eaten like 8 rolls of sushi, but I had two. I had two. And I had two at 5 p.m. So waking up in the morning, I was like, I probably should have digested this by now. So I'm kind of just starting to get time to go to the workout class. And I'm like, wow, I really don't feel good. Like, I don't think that I can hold a plank right now. I feel like I need to lay down. I feel like I need to go back to bed. I don't really know what's happening. So I unfortunately had to cancel the workout class, and it was an NYC workout class. That's $43 down the drain. Rest in peace. Moment of silence. Okay. So I get back in bed, and then I start to get worse. And I'm not a big drinker because I know I drink socially, but I know that I will feel bad the next day if I have more than two. I can have two and I can rally and do my thing. I probably won't sleep well, but I can rally. Three, I need to make sure I have a day off. And four, I need to make sure that there is truly nothing planned for the rest of, the following day, and making sure that like the schedule is to just lay in bed and recover. So this two drinks thing really shouldn't have gotten me, but I started to feel exhausted. My body hurt. It really felt like something was off. I kept trying to, go to the kitchen or clean. I this is my first day off, and so I was thinking about all the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to feel like a real person and get stuff done and get some work done, and my body just kept pulling me back to the bed. So around 2 o'clock, I said, let me at least do something that will get me out of the house, but it's a quick errand. So I went down to Union Square and I got a spray tan at Beach Bum. If you know, you know, Beach Bum's the place to go. And when I walk around New York City, I'm a speed walker. I'm speeding. Yeah. Yeah. I can walk. Okay. I've lived here for how many years have I lived here? Since 2019. So that's 6 years. I've lived here for 6 years. I can walk fast. So I was walking very, very slow. People were moving around me because I could not get my little legs to go any faster. And I felt very, very unwell. And I got my spray tan, came home, took a shower later. And as I was getting ready for bed, I started to feel achy and I was going like this to myself. And I was like, is this like a fever I'm detecting? I don't really know what's happening here. And then just little parts of my body started to hurt a little bit more. And I was laying there and I was like, I said to myself, Presley, don't you dare think it. Don't think it, because if you think it, it will come true. I started to say to myself, I feel like tomorrow I'm going to wake up with the flu. Like that is how bad I felt. I feel like I'm not adding the dramatics enough because I've told this story to some of my friends and they're like, okay, Presley. So I'm laying there on Monday night and I literally was thinking to myself, wow, I just lost an entire day of my life that was supposed to be spent doing other things. Okay. And I told this story to my friend Lauren. You all know her because she was on the pod. We went to dinner last night, which I will get into. But she said, well, Presley, you also ate raw fish. It could have been that. It could have been a lot of other things. And I just, in my soul, knew that it was the wine. I think I just had a weird reaction to it. And so I was laying there on Monday and I started to think about like, I don't want to feel like this again. And I know that this sounds dramatic, but I truly was like, what if this is something else going on? What if the alcohol triggered something else? Like, what if this is a sign from my body that I need to stop? And granted, it's not something that I do all the time, but on vacation, yeah. On the weekends, yeah. Night outs with my friends, yeah. But I don't like to get drunk because I get very easily hungover. So I'm wondering if because I get easily hungover, that means that my body really hates it. I don't know. But so on Monday night, I was like, wow, I don't want to ever feel like this ever again. And we all know those hangovers where in the morning it's rough and then by 3 p.m. you're like, okay, okay, that was scary, but we've moved past it. The fact that it was getting worse throughout the day, I was like, yeah, I didn't know what was going on. And so I woke up on Tuesday morning and I felt better. I was like, okay, we're back. I went to a hot yoga class and then around noon I was back in bed. I said, okay, I think that kind of took it out of me, but it felt nice to move and it felt nice to sweat. For my Aura Ring friends, my readiness score on Monday was normal. And so I was very confused as to why my ring wasn't picking up the fact that I was very unwell, because usually it does. And so on Tuesday, I woke up and my readiness was a 43 after like 8 hours of sleep. It was a 43, and that's out of 100. If you don't have an Aura Ring, they take your sleep, they take your heart rate while you're sleeping, your temperature while you're sleeping, your activity the previous day. They calculate it all up into a readiness score for the day. So my score was a 43, which is not good. That's the score that I get if I don't sleep at all and I drank too close to bedtime and it was all bad. Like if I'm going to a friend's birthday party or something, that's usually the score that I wake up with the next day. But I got so much sleep and I was 43, and it said it gives you a symptom radar. So if you're starting to feel a little sicky, it'll say you have minor signs of something straining your body. And if you're feeling major sicky, it will say you have major signs of something straining your body. So I woke up and it said major signs and 43. And I was like, oh, okay, not good. Not good. So Tuesday, I did my yoga. I went to bed early, got 9 hours of sleep. Wednesday, yesterday, I wake up. Readiness score is back. We're at like an 89, but it still says major signs. And so part of me thinks it's just a day off, like a day off. I think what happened on Tuesday was supposed to happen on Monday, but it just kind of starts to make you think about your health a little bit and make you think about what you're putting in your body. You're putting this stuff in your body and then expecting it to perform at a certain level. And when it doesn't, that's probably because of what you're putting in, right? So I started thinking about how I truly never wanted to feel like that again. Even if it was the sushi, I don't know what it was. It was the wine. My friends will say it was the sushi, it was the wine. And I started thinking about being the idea of being sober curious. And I started thinking about how drinking is something that's so social, right? If bars didn't exist and you could, for some reason, you could only drink in the comfort of your own home, I feel like people would, but maybe people wouldn't do it all the time, right? And so I was like, well, if I stop drinking for a while, how is that going to affect my social life? The idea came to me to stop drinking through the rest of the year, right? It's mid-November, that's a month and a half. I can do that. I've done sober October before, felt great, and I've taken breaks before, but this is the busiest time of the year for me. And the more I thought about it, I really liked the idea of doing something for myself and not drinking. So Wednesday morning I wake up and I feel much better. Um, I minor signs, it says minor signs. No, today's minor signs. Wednesday was still major signs. Oh, scary. So Wednesday though, I had an event. I had a opening night party, and I had a dinner with Lauren before and after. I had already paid $67 to go with everyone to an open bar situation. $67 for an open bar? I mean, in New York City, drinks are $25. Easy, easy. So I it's a big night of celebration and hanging out with all of my friends and seeing people I haven't seen in a while, etc. So it is a night to, and we all have the day off today. It is the night to celebrate. And so I was a little bit worried about, okay, well, if I order a club soda, are people going to think that I'm weird? Are people going to take me seriously? Are people going to pressure me into drinking if I said that I didn't want to? And even, I mean, here's the thing with my friends, they're not going to do that. They reassured me that, like, that I'm not dying and that I'm going to be okay, and that it probably was a one time fluke and that I don't have some sort of weird condition where I'm like now allergic to alcohol. But so they questioned me a little bit because they know the dramatics and I love to spiral very quickly. But then they dropped it after a while. I mean, even they offered me sips of things and I was like, no. And then they dropped it because they're good people. And I wouldn't be friends with someone that was like pressuring me to do shots or pouring them down my throat. I would never associate myself with someone like that. So, not because that's the activity that they participated, just because if they were forcing me to do it. Okay. I love to watch people do activities from afar, but I don't like to participate in things. So, I was also wondering how it would be to be sober at this event. And I was wondering, honestly, this sounds insane, but I was wondering if it would be fun. I knew it was going to be fun because I'm with all my friends, but it was a later event, started at 10, which, like, yeah, I could have definitely used an espresso martini, but I was nervous that I would be bringing bad energy to the function. And I was nervous that I wasn't going to have fun. So we get there. Lauren and I didn't drink at dinner. She wanted to save her drinking for the $67 that we paid for the open bar. And we also went to dinner in Midtown Manhattan. So a bottle of wine's $100. So we said, yeah, let's save the money. And it was funny because dinner was, so, we were like, oh, this place is so cheap. And we said, oh, it's because we didn't drink, which is crazy. Um, so, moral of the story is yes, I paid $67 for a club soda at this event, but no, it was more than that. I mean, it was so fun to see all my friends and it was a beautiful venue. But I woke up this morning and I felt amazing. I felt so amazing. And what was interesting is usually I always say, like, I can never sleep in. If I go out, I don't sleep in. I wake up at 7, yada, 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 whatever. I don't think it's necessarily my sleeping habits. I think it was the alcohol because last night I got home late. I left the party at midnight. I probably went to bed at 1. I woke up at 8:30, which if you know me, usually it's 7:30, okay? Usually I can never sleep. And I truly think it was the alcohol. And so I am saying it here and I'm saying it now. If you there's that new trend going around, sober curious, okay? If you're sober curious like me and you want to try it for a period of time, I will be doing it until the end of the year. I know holidays, people are like on vacations and doing things. So it's not everyone. This is my busiest time of the year. It's not everyone else's busiest time of the year. So if you want to join me, great. If you don't want to join me, do it in January. But I am not going to drink for the rest of the year because, again, not to sound dramatic, but that was very, very scary. And I am intrigued to see how it affects my social life because I also was thinking about this. If I go to a bar and I just order a club soda, like our bartender's gonna hate me, but I believe a good tip because a club soda's, nothing compared to like the $25 for a martini that usually happens. So we'll see how it affects me socially, but I do think that it's going to be very good for my brain and my body. And I'm excited. And there's always January if I change my mind and want to start dabbling again. So that is my sober curious story. I also wanted to talk about something, a little saying that my friends and I have been, saying to each other. Every friend group has like that one catchphrase that just starts to linger. And I'm very proud of myself because my friend group's most recent one, guess who came up with it? Ding, 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 right here. So let me set the scene. There was 5 of us at the sushi restaurant that I love. And we were hungry. We were hungry. It had been a long day. We were hungry. So we're thinking about what rolls to order, etc., etc. My poor friend Sean, my sweet, sweet Sean, who will be on the podcast or the YouTube show, excuse me, will be on the show eventually. Um, I said that I wanted a yellowtail jalapeno roll. he was confused and he thought I meant like the sliced sashimi. And he was trying to vocalize that he didn't want to spend that much money on just like slices of fish and that we could get something else because it was like $30 for what he thought I wanted, but what I actually wanted was 11. So we're sitting there, we're like, we there's a lot of like happy but chaotic energy when we're all around each other. Like the episode, it was kind of like that, where we all just kind of start talking and laughing at each other at the same time. And so I wasn't really listening. I just heard that he like was complaining about not getting that role, and he's one of my very very close friends, so it's okay. So he's yelling about the role, everyone's yelling. I just look at him and I go, "Oh, grow up, Sean." And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, "Oh, that was kind of rude." I was like, "Was that too far?" I was assessing the table, like, did I just, and then everyone started bursting out laughing. And I said, "Whew, dodged a bullet with that one." So, and then we ended up getting the roll, that the $11 roll. Um, but now my friends and I will just turn to each other and say, "Oh, grow up." Grow up. And now it's what's the word? It's karma on me, because every time I don't want to go out, they yell at me to grow up. And honestly, it works. So, here's what I want you to do. I think adulting can be, it can be a lot at some points, right? You're looking at your to-do list, you're like, "Wow, I have so much to do," whatever, etc. So, I want you to start just chuckling to yourself and telling yourself to grow up, okay? You have to call the doctor. Grow up, pick up the phone and do it. You have to pay the bill. Grow up, go online, pay it. You have to go to this errand you don't want to do. Grow up. You have to go visit someone that you don't want to go visit, a family member, friend, whatever. Like, grow up. You have to wake up early to do something for work. Grow up. You have to stay up late to do something for work. Grow up. You know, granted, it sounds like a little harsh, but I think if you can make it funny and if you can just make it like, "Oh, grow up, like you can do it, stop complaining." I think the complaining thing is what it's really about, when it comes to ourselves, of just telling yourself, like, "Oh, grow up, like stop complaining, you can do it." Um, so yeah, I'll be I'll be using that, especially as we get into this, holiday season. Things are getting busier. I'm getting more tired. I can already sense the feeling that I probably won't want to go out, and I'll just be telling myself, "Oh, grow up, Presley. You can do it. You are strong. You are independent. You can do it." So, happy Sunday. I hope that everyone has a great week. Remember to tell yourself to grow up. And remember, if you're thinking about, leaning away from the alcohol for a while, it's not the end of the world. And I want to, if you have stories, etc., of going out and being sober, like, please tell me. I'm also curious, is it possible to have, I mean, I know it's possible, but if anyone has a good recipe, etc., for a mocktail that's not carbonated, that's not full of sugar, let me know. I would love to try it. So, have a great week, everyone. Happy mid November. Crazy. We're getting so close. And I will see you all next week. Bye.